What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, Lori, and Mike, and we are talking about season 3, episode 2 of The Boys. And I say that because we got into a very spirited discussion before we started recording about the Hero-gasm episode, and I cannot wait till we talk about that episode because the episode was so hilarious. But anyway, we're gonna pull it back. We gotta focus. We're talking about episode 2 of The Boys.
This episode is like, I mean, the big thing in the episode is when Butcher got the temp V, and it's like, this is like, as soon as he took it, I was like, no, like, this is bad. This is really bad.
Right.
Only bad things can come from a little bottle.
Yeah, this is lots. Like, holy fuck! Like, he was. I mean, oh,
it was bad.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell that it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Like, I mean, because it's just like someone said. I forget what. I'm surprised I can't remember what movie it is. It's like, but it says like people who gain superpowers, it only amplifies who you are. What's that from?
Captain America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the super soldier serum only it enhances who you are, who you actually are. It doesn't change anything. And this is gonna be I look at it like this is gonna be a perfect example of that shit.
It's gonna be a problem. Butcher, and I mean, I think we touched on this in the first episode. Butcher with Supe powers, it's going to be a bad thing because one, I can understand the appeal of wanting to level the playing field. Okay, especially when you're talking about going against somebody like Homelander that you've been trying to take down for years and you've never gotten close. I can understand kind of wanting to, even up the odds a little bit. But it's not going to work the way he wants it to. One, you are a person who have been against Supes for so long and talked about them and hunting them down. And now you have the same powers as them. That's kind of a little hypocritical.
Well, there's so many cliches. Like, if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss stares back.
Yeah.
And then like the longer the thing that you hate, you become.
Mm-hmm.
And all those things are starting to apply to Butcher.
Yeah. And in the comic book it gets way, way deeper. But my thing is that wouldn't you question, first of all, if Maeve, who is not what she used to be, is able to get this drug for you, wouldn't you question a little bit more about the ease of her being able to get this experimental drug to you? Don't you think that whoever's in charge is maybe letting her give this drug to give to him, knowing that there might be some really bad side effects later on down the road? I mean, or that's just me thinking.
I don't know. I think Maeve is one of the 7, and if she goes there and she's like, I want some of these, they're going to give them to her. No questions asked.
And I don't even think she would have to ask for it. It's like Maeve's position in the 7 for the longest time was she was next in line after Homelander. So I think she has a level of privilege and a level of access that maybe the other Supes don't have, or maybe even some of the executive levels may not have it. So she probably can kind of slip in, grab something, and slip back out with no issues. At least that's what I'm thinking.
Who's gonna stop her? Like, if you're in the lab and she walks in and grabs a handful of them and walks out, who's gonna stop her?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And plus, she's like, ever since the girls get it done moment and her bribing, her like blackmailing Homelander, she's different. Like, she's a way different person than she was before. It's like,
since she lost her wife or whatever.
That too.
She's not the same.
But yeah, I think too, being able to have that dangling in front of Homelander, like, and he tried to say last season, like, okay, well, if you expose this, you'll expose yourself too. And she's just like, I don't care. I'll go down. as long as I take you with me. And I think having that freedom of not having anything that's threatening to you in that sense, you know, because for a long time she kept quiet because she's implicated in that video. But even when we watched the video, it was obvious that she wanted to try to help these people, and Homelander prevented her from doing that. So being able to say, you know what, if this comes out, I don't care, I'm free. You know, what is it they say? The truth will set you free. She's like, okay, you know what? Yeah. How about I put this information out and then we just all fall, we just all suffer. And of course, Homelander doesn't want that. Homelander needs this gig, and I think he needs what it allows for him. You know, like she's willing to give all of that up. He's not, because this is all he's known. I mean, he's literally a test tube baby that was raised by Vought for the sole purpose of being one of the superheroes.
Yeah, and she's in a nothing to lose situation.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So.
And then we see later in this episode, we see what happens when Homelander feels like he has nothing left to lose, and it's like I mean, that is on him with a mindset that he has nothing left to lose. Is almost basically on par with Butcher having superpowers. It's like, because that pretty much him not giving a fuck releases a lot of him holding back on certain things. Mm-hmm. So it's like he actually becomes, I mean, not literally more powerful, but figuratively he's freer to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. So it's like he's way more dangerous now. I mean, if he doesn't give a fuck about being blackmailed, he doesn't give a fuck about whatever people say about him. If he just doesn't give a fuck, that's terror. That's dangerous. Like you can't do anything to him. It's like I'm really sorry if he's like, you know, he's lost. If he feels like he has nothing left to lose, then you have a reckless Supe on your hand, like just mad reckless, like doesn't give a fuck and can run rampant, do whatever the fuck he wants to, and he's the most powerful Supe out there. What are you gonna do?
Throw people off.
Luckily for these people, he has he's been raised and conditioned to want the public to love him. Mm-hmm. And as long as he has that need and that desire that's been instilled in him to want the accolades and the love and the devotion of the public, he's fine. Mm-hmm. When he doesn't care for that, that's when he's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
You think he's a problem now. When he realizes that he doesn't need to be loved, he doesn't need to be cherished, he doesn't need to be worshipped, that's when he's going to become an issue.
Yeah. I mean, we also see that not just with, you know, that's not his attitude just with the public, but, you know, we see an exchange here with Stormfront. And, you know, we talked about what happened in the last episode, and it's basically like Stormfront is still in this mindset where she wants him to be like this perfect being so they can create more of him. And in his mindset, he's like, we don't need to create an army of me. I'm the perfect soldier. I'm the perfect me. I don't need, you know, copies. And I think it's one of those things where he realizes she was probably more in love with him because of the potential of what he could be for Vought, as opposed to loving him as a person. And you see him kind of react to that in this episode because, you know, he goes to visit her again and he's like, hey, guess what today is? And apparently it's his birthday. And, you know, he's like, you know, blink if you want to wish me a happy birthday or something like that. And she's wheezing, and it's almost like she's kind of sort of catatonic. And he's just, you know, he gets upset. He was like, oh, okay, we don't, you know, I'll come by later or something like that. And the look on his face, like he doesn't even wait until he turns away from her. I guess because he figures she's probably not going to see it anyway. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, well, she's not feeding what I need from her, so I don't give a fuck about her. And that's basically the way his face looked when he turned around, and of course we see her start to blink after he leaves, and that one little tear comes down her eye. But I guess at this point she was just like, okay, you know what? I can't get what I want from him, and apparently he doesn't want me unless I'm giving him what he wants. So yeah, why am I sitting in this bed all burnt to a crisp, arrested, pariahed and everything? She's like, okay, you know what? I'm done with this. And she kills herself on his quote unquote birthday, which we also find out is not actually his birthday, but she, he's in the middle of this rescue attempt. There's a person who is trying to jump off a building, or so I don't know, that's supposed to be the little, I guess, running gimmick. Like he's always supposed to be saving someone, and this girl is on top of the building wanting to jump. And he just gets up there and he's like, yeah, go ahead and jump. Why should I care? And blah, blah, blah. And then the news comes across that Stormfront has died by suicide. She bit her tongue off in her hospital bed and bled to death. And he's just like, why would she do this to me on my birthday? And I'm like, dude, the woman that you supposedly was in love with just killed herself. And that's the reaction you have? So yeah, I feel like this is kind of the point where it starts that little, not that he hasn't already been on a downward spiral, but I think that's when the spiral starts going a little bit faster. And he is like tumbling down that hill. So yeah, I think eventually, like you said, when it gets to a point where he's like, you know what? I don't care if the public loves me or not. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a huge problem, because then ain't nobody going to be able to tell him shit. And I'm just like, when that happens, I mean, can you imagine? Homelander is the most powerful Supe in this world. What military is going to stop him? What other superpowered being is going to stop him? Whatever this weapon is that they claim, killed Soldier Boy and might be able to kill him. But right now, that's even a myth.
We'll have an invincible situation. All the other Supes can't even team up and stop him.
Man, that'll be that would be an ugly thing. Can you imagine? Because yeah, even with the 7, I think Starlight, as far as I can tell, she's the one that's exhibited the most power out of the rest of them. Because I mean, yeah, Queen Maeve is strong, but we talked about her for second season. She was not my favorite character in season 2, because I felt like, one, they didn't use her character enough, and 2, it was kind of hard to connect with her character, because it's like, you're part of the 7, but why? That's how I felt. Like we really didn't get exposed to any of her powers. We didn't get to see her do anything that made her worthy of being in the 7. We
didn't, but I think for the most part, like it tracks with the comic book. She's number 2, like in power wise, right now, because she's basically Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So we really haven't seen all of her power set, but I think that's sort of like when we got to her in this story, she's sort of kind of disgruntled and disillusioned with the whole situation. So she's really not doing anything any more than she has to.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's like the 7 is just like slowly disintegrating now. It's like, even if they bring in like Supersonic, and it's like,
we gotta talk about Supersonic. We got.
I mean, come on. It's like he's like the little, like 98. It's like a one man 98 degrees out there, like doing his little knee slides and his little.
That song that they had him practicing for Homelander's birthday party. What was it? You Can Drive Me or something? I was sitting there watching it just like this, like, ew. And I mean, he even says it. He was like, that song was cringeworthy when I was 18. If I sing that now, they're gonna make me stay 1,000 feet away from schools. It's like
It was a very, very bad NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block type song.
I've never heard any of those groups sing anything remotely close to that horrible.
I know, right?
I mean, literally, the lyrics are like, you got your license to drive, baby. You can drive me. I'm like,
it's almost like a boy band R. Kelly.
Oh God, that's a good one. I like that. I like that.
I'm so
it was terrible. It was
right now.
Literally,
I'm so horrified right now.
Clip that.
License to drive me.
No, I'm not cutting that. I'm gonna let everybody hear you make that joke. I'm not cutting that at all. But okay, so
now that you got your
let's
license to drive me crazy. Now that you're 16.
Pedophile.
You don't have to just stop right there. Just stop right there.
And the fact that and he knows, he was like, when I was 18, that was creepy. Now it's like, but when you're one of those boy band idols and that was the kind of thing you were singing in your heyday and that's what made you popular. I mean, we all know when you go to concerts, yeah, people have their new stuff, but you want to hear the old stuff. You want to hear the stuff that made them popular back when you liked them, regardless of whether it sounds appropriate for them to be singing as, whatever. I mean, like, I'm sure fans want to hear stuff like Candy Girl and Popcorn Love from New Edition, but it sounds weird.
No. I
want to hear Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown singing Popcorn Love. Like, nah, that's
okay.
Just,
no. I want to set you up by Color Me Bad. That was a bad song. Okay, and that thing was a hit.
I want to sex you out.
That was a horrible song.
Yeah,
I'm kicking you.
But they don't qualify as a boy. They don't qualify as a boy band. They were grown men. They were grown ass men. So no.
Yeah.
They were
grown ass men.
They were over 25. Okay,
but they had women in their videos, and they weren't singing to younger or teenage girls.
They were preteens from Boston that were singing.
Leave my new kids alone. Don't talk about my new kids.
I think he was talking about New Edition, maybe.
Talking about New Edition.
New Edition you can talk about all day long.
I mean, it's like have them singing. You got the right stuff. It's like all I can think is you.
But I mean, even if you think about that, if you think about the lyrics, there's nothing in those lyrics that are okay when you're 18 and make you cringe when you're 30. It might be like it's a little immature, but it's nothing that's like, ew, I don't want to hear him singing that because it love this song when I was young. I can't listen to it now. Shh by Tevin Campbell.
Oh yeah.
Because the fact that he was 17 years old singing that song, and then to think about it's just like if I go to a concert and see Tevin Campbell right now as a 30, 40 something year old man, I don't want to hear him saying, and talk about, doing homework and stuff like that. It's just
before we go down this rabbit hole too far, I heard a song today that kind of made me cringe. Chris Brown, Run It, because he has a line in there about I'll be doing things that make you can't believe I'm 16.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he was singing to an older woman then.
Yeah. Who you singing to?
Yeah.
And you see where that led.
So yeah.
Well, because I was gonna say he was 16. Like even then, if he was dating an 18-year-old, people would look at it like which again, generational thing. Because to me, a 2-year age difference is not that big. But if you're 15 and 17, it makes a bigger difference than if you're 18 and 20 or that sort of thing. Or if you're 14 and 16, it's just.
14 and 16, that's two different schools. Like 14 and 16 is like middle school and high school.
Do you remember
not
all
necessarily because if you're in ninth grade, you're going to school with that same 11th grader. So that's why I say it's one of those weird things. But that's a whole other conversation.
It's closer to that. It's closer to you believing that person is that whoever is actually 14. Just turned 14. That means they're in 8th grade. So it's like then someone who's 17, they could be a junior.
All I know is that's not who Chris Brown. He was not singing to no seniors in high school. I know that much.
Is your man?
Did you see the concerts? He was not singing to no 18-year-olds.
Yeah. Okay. So let's stop talking about age appropriate. So let's talk. Since we can stay on this subject though, let's talk about this bad music in this episode because Crimson Countess and that damn song about the chimps.
Oh God!
And the Soldier Boy song. I was like, we talked about in the last episode. I was talking about how cringeworthy these shows within a show, is, or the music within the, it's like they're supposed to be performing these things, or like the news, the Vought News Network and stuff. It's kind of like it's supposed to be a parody, so it's supposed to be cringeworthy. But listening to these songs and how serious she was singing about this stuff, I had to pause my TV. I was like, I can't do it. I can't. And then when Kimiko was like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan. Oh, would you like to hear my new music? And then she starts singing about the chimps and saving the chimps. And it was just, who comes up with this shit?
Shit.
I don't know. Some of this stuff is just so. I don't know. Oh, and let's talk. Also, cringeworthy. The damn theme park. The theme park was. So
my God, that was beyond creepy.
Oh my God! What was it?
Since we're talking about the Crimson Countess, so Frenchie and the girl, right?
That's what she calls herself.
Kimiko.
Yeah, the girl Kimiko
are trying to find. They're trying to find clues to Soldier Boy, right? Mm-hmm. So they go to talk to the Crimson Countess, and she's at this carnival, and it looks freaking ridiculous. It does.
That's what I'm saying. The theme park was so weird. It was Vaughtland.
Yeah,
and they've all of the decorations and the little mascots walking around, and the very cringeworthy phrases and names for the things like Brave Maves something, and it has all of the pride stuff, and then you've got the I forgot what it was called, but I figure Mike probably took the notes. The thing about the Black Lives Matter, like it's very specifically things that are supposed to make you cringe. And I think
it's commentary on the targeted marketing,
right?
That corporations do.
Guys,
it was
you're missing the obvious joke. This was Great Value Six Flags.
I don't even know if I would insult Great Value like that.
Oh, this is like alt-right Six Flags.
Oh, yes.
I mean, all the stuff was like Soldier Boy becoming McCarthy, and they were like taking McCarthy's place, saying that he has a list of avowed communists. I'm like, excuse me?
I tell you, all the stuff, and the even funnier thing about it is, if you pay attention, especially like on Twitter, to the social media promotion, let me tell you, The Boys has one of the best social media promotion presence ever, because you have a Vault International Twitter feed, and they play like all of the news clips and all of the stories of the day and everything. They promote this show very well. And it's just so weird because, like I said, when you see it, you have all of this stuff, this politically correct stuff that, is supposed to show, oh yes, we do support and we are inclusive. And it's like the most offensive shit that you can see. And it's just like, who sits here and thinks like, how can I make this show even more offensive and even more wild than the last episode? Because I swear it gets worse and worse as the season goes on. And I mean that worse and worse in a good way, because it is very entertaining. And again, it is a parody, satire on the political climate that we are living in now, but it's so cringeworthy to watch it. Like there are times when I'm watching the show and I see certain things and I'm just like it's almost like fingernails going down a chalkboard, and you know how you get that little shiver in your spine when you hear it. That's how I feel watching this show sometimes. Like, oh, did they really have to put that in there? Like, oh. But then I go and read the comments on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad they put that in there because people are offended. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're being so political in this show. I'm not going to watch. I'm like, have you watched this show from the beginning?
We talked about that the first season. I mean, it is clearly obvious. They don't care about your feelings, right wing. They really don't.
Yeah, first time, huh? Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Right.
But I'm sure they saw I think, was it Winter Soldier, where Steve Rogers saw the display about him, and they had the video of Soldier Boy. I was like, it's like the same shit.
I think that's on purpose. But the other cringeworthy stuff. Okay, I forgot to mention the thing that started off the whole show at the very beginning. The promo for Not Without My Dolphin. And they had Billy fucking Zane come in as the doggone pastor. I mean, as the leader of the doggone church. And I kept looking at him like, I know his face. Why do I know his face? I'm not used to seeing him with no hair. So I had to watch it like 3 times. And I was like, wait, did they really get him to come in and play this part for this faux promo? And you giving me no choice but to run. I was like, oh my god, it's just so purposefully bad, and yet it's so funny. But not without my
it's like,
one word: pandemic. Need check. Okay, that was 3 words.
No, I mean it's interesting because
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
I mean, some of these stars come on here and do these cameos just because they want to be in it, because they love the show so much. I'm not sure if that's what Billy Zane did or not, but it's just one of those things where it's kind of like it's a memorable 3 minutes.
Right. And there's another actor that blew my mind that I didn't even realize that he was on the show that shows up later. But in this episode, the black guy who is A-Train's agent, remember he was in what's his name? Yeah, he was in help me. He was in Preacher. I remember he was in
Preacher.
And then
so he was the Archangel Michael in Supernatural.
Right, and he was also on that one show, the Timeless show. So I actually, when I see him, I like him. He's a good actor, but yeah, people will pop up just out of nowhere. But as far as Billy Zane showed up bald on Psych for a few episodes. He has this career now where he pops up every once in a while, like every 2 or 3 years on a show, does an appearance, maybe a half an episode, and then disappears, gets his coins, and goes back home. That's Billy Zane.
But it's one of those things where it's like, he comes in and he does like a scene or two and you remember it for the next 5 years.
Right.
Exactly. That's what he does. That's his lane right now, because look, Billy Zane, I know Phantom didn't do well, and that was the big movie. But the thing is that he should have had a bigger career than he had, because he is an amazing actor. Mm-hmm. But because of life, circumstances, whatever, Val Kilmer got the glory and he didn't.
I don't know how those two things are related.
Well, at one time, the two of them were running neck and neck for roles.
I was going to say, because they were kind of in that same.
Right. Yeah. Back in the late
80s,
early 90s.
I would just say Tom Cruise has kind of kicked them all out.
Well, I mean, but
I don't like Tom Cruise, but I appreciate and respect Tom Cruise. But then again, Cocktail is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
I know. Okay. I'm weird.
No, it's not weird. Cocktail was a fun movie, but
love Cocktail. Cocktails and Dreams.
But okay, I have to stick on the whole cringeworthy train because there was so much of it in this episode. First of all, now we have two Ashleys, as if one wasn't annoying enough. You have the one that's the parrot next to her, but then you have A-Train wanting to rebrand himself as a woke Black superhero. And I just watched this whole thing. Let me tell you, I have no love for A-Train. None at all. And just having to sit here and watch him go through this scene and do this pitch and talk about A-Train to Africa and the Middle Passage, I was just like,
is that a video game about the slave trade? This is like,
it's some powerful stuff. Dude, like
no.
I like what the guy said. You can't all of a sudden want to do this when you've never done it before. Like
at all.
This has never been you, and now you want to do it.
Right.
It's not gonna work.
And Ashley is just looking at him like,
why?
Like, oh, we
I wish you were here.
Here. Like, yeah, we're gonna do this. Yeah, we're gonna do this. With that fake smile.
No.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I mean, like you said, the 7 is falling apart, and it's just weird.
It's in disarray right now.
Right.
You know, and where's Black Noir? He out there chilling somewhere.
Avoiding almonds, just chilling, like, you know.
Just staying out of the fray.
I'm gonna tell y'all now. I'm not gonna spoil.
Or he might still be recovering from his his bout with the almonds.
Well, I don't think so, because even in the promo spot that Homelander does at the beginning of the episode, talking about his birthday extravaganza, he talks about the fact that his extra special friend Black Noir is going to make an appearance. So, and again, this is like a whole year after all of that other stuff happened. So I think he's okay, but it's just one of those things where it's like everybody is falling apart in their own ways. Like they're trying to keep their head above water. Like Homelander clearly has gone bananas, or is going that way, and he's getting to the point where he just doesn't give a fuck who is witnessing this. Well, you know, like I said, it's been a slow decline compared to what I think. I don't think we've seen the full crazy of his crazy yet. I think he's just showing us like little flashes. Yeah, so that's why I say he's kind of going that way, because I think once he gets to the point where he starts sprinting down that hill, it's going to look totally different, and we're going to be looking at the screens like, what the fuck are we watching? I just have a feeling it's going to be like that.
But is it going to be Crazy Town Epic Crazy? Because Crazy Town was pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's going to redefine that term. At least for the confines of our show, at least like how we discuss Crazy Town in that sense. But yeah, I mean,
we have A-Train. A-Train is just having like a crisis of
identity.
Can we talk about the costume?
All that.
Can we talk about the Juneteenth costume?
Instead of A-Train, he's the Kente train.
I'm sorry,
y'all.
I saw the costume, and I was like, the hell, because they did the whole presentation and the whole dysphoria whatever thing, and then the next thing I know, he shows up and he's wearing this. You're right, it's Kunta Kinte. It's horrible. It is. I'm saying it. They need to take his card away.
And they're all looking at him like, "What the fuck are you wearing?" Like,
I don't think he ever had a card.
He probably had one. He probably had one before he became a Supe. But once he got in the 7,
it was gone. It was gone.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. We're gonna take a break from the cringe. Do you have something else cringeworthy to talk about?
No. I thought I figured you were about to transition away from cringeworthy and go back to the Crimson Countess confrontation with the boys, where unfortunately Hughie wasn't around, but somebody did go splat everywhere.
That's it. Okay, but first, can we talk about Kimiko's childlike innocence going to the amusement park? Like how she was just like all like
her.
Like a little kid, like wanting to ride the rides, and then sitting through her like Crimson Countess singing and applauding, like, oh my God, it's her. Like,
can we talk about Frenchie's outrage about the hamburgers with the donut buns? I'm like, dude, you've never been to Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah, no. But the cholesterol stage.
Like, is there no God?
Which right, Kimiko was so excited to be there.
She was.
Yeah.
It was adorable. It's like she was just like, I mean, she's real. They've added a lot in just these 2 episodes. They've added a lot of depth to her character. Like she's not just like the person that comes in and beats people to a pulp. It's like you actually see what's going on in her mind and things that she yearns for and things that she wishes that she would have experienced as a child or as a younger person. Like she's really starting to see the things that she's missed being treated, being done the way that she was done, like being injected with the V, becoming like a weapon and things of that nature. It's like she's missed a lot in her life, and this shows that she actually realizes that she missed it, and she kind of wants to experience it again. Like she's getting to the point where she wants to become just a person and not be strong and not just be known for beating people up. She just wants to be Kimiko, like going to amusement parks, riding roller coasters, eating donut hamburgers and all that. Like, that's all she wants to do.
Yeah, but I think that's all she ever wanted to do. Like having these powers was never something she wanted, and being the quote unquote monster that the shining light made her into, that's not what she wanted. And I think, when we first meet her character and she gets around the boys, of course, she still has trust issues at that point. And I gotta say, it's a breath of fresh air seeing the way she was then and the way she was now. And the majority of that has to do with Frenchie's patience with her, his willingness to learn how to communicate with her and, to give her a voice, since she really doesn't have one amongst the group, or at least she didn't have one amongst the group. But y'all know how I feel about those two. That's like, I love them. And the fact that he just calls her Moncour every time he addresses her, I'm like, oh, they're so sweet. But again, it's just like, her smile and the way she looks at things, like you said, Michael, with that kind of innocence, it's so refreshing to see for her character. But then when it's time for her to do something, she's going to do what she has to do. But it was, I loved seeing it, but I'm like,
but then you see her face after Crimson Countess blew up the mascot.
Man, because
she saw like kids. All that childlike innocence, all that cuteness is gone because this is the reality of the world we live in.
Yeah. And also I think it affected her because there's these 2 kids, these 2 siblings at the carnival, and they're sitting there playing and talking and sharing cotton candy, and she's missing Kenji at this point. But then when that happens with the Crimson Countess and she explodes what was it, the Homelander mascot that she accidentally?
Homelander.
Yeah, she was trying to attack them and it was in the way, and so she killed the guy who was in it, and the blood splatters against the kids, and she looks over there at them because she's like, okay, their innocence is gone now. Like, how do you still stay, innocent with childlike wonder when you just seen somebody killed and had blood splattered all over you? And not only that, one of the quote unquote superheroes that you're at that park to see is the one who did the killing. It's just, I just want Kimiko to be happy. I know it's probably not going to happen in this season, but I just want her to be happy. Let her ride on her roller coaster if that's what she wants. But I guess it's not happening in this.
And it's like when she was talking to the Crimson Countess, she's like, "Oh, Dominic, can you not talk?" And she's like, "Mm-mm." I was like, "Oh, you want to hear my new song?" Mm-hmm. Like, oh my god! Like I know she's like in her late 20s, mid late 20s. It's like she looked like she was 12 then. Like just
she
like.
Did. Mm-hmm.
It was like I was like, oh.
Right. But let's go to something else that's a little more interesting and a little more serious. So on the flip side of all this funny stuff and the cringeworthy stuff and all this, of course, last episode we found, Hughie found out that Victoria was the head popper, and of course now he's like trying to figure out what her thing is. Like he and Starlight are trying to figure out what's going on, and he actually traces something. I forgot what it was. It was some papers that he traced back to an adoption agency or a foster home that is run by a Vought subsidiary. So he goes to this place to kind of see what's going on here, like he's trying to adopt a superpowered child. And, he drops something on the floor and a kid teleports over to him. Do y'all realize that was Madeline Stillwell's child?
Yes. That's what I was going to say. That's fucking Stillwell's kid.
Because I had to look when and it's so funny because I was like, they put that in there for the viewers, because what teacher, unless a child is like really, really in trouble, what teacher is going to call you Michael, first name, last name? We don't do that in here. You don't do that in front of a stranger. But like she very specifically, Teddy Stillwell, we do not teleport in here. And I was like, well, that explains how he got out of the house before it exploded.
Saying his last name was very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Like they wanted to let you know, like Teddy Stillwell, Stillwell from the woman that got killed in the first season of Stillwell, her last name was Stillwell too. Remember we couldn't find the baby? Well, here you go.
Well, they found the baby that night. They were like, we don't know how he got, because I think they found him like a mile away from the house.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, so her baby's a Supe. Who that baby daddy? I'm just wondering, did she go the regular Vought way and have a test tube baby, or is that Homelander's child? Because her and Homelander were kicking it.
Yeah, I don't think that's Homelander's kid. I think she did the V. I think she just injected it with V. I think that's an experimental baby.
Okay. Because I was like,
I don't know. Yeah.
That's a little suspect. But yeah, the fact that they have
I mean, if you think about it, she probably kind of knew that Homelander would have issues with her having a child anyway. So you want to try to give that child something to help them out having to deal with Homelander.
Yeah. Homelander probably wanted to fight that baby for his milk supply. So
right, exactly.
Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Why
he won a competition. He's like, that's my titties.
You're not lying.
Took off my titties, boy.
But yeah, so while Hughie is doing this research, that's what it was. We find out that that's where Victoria was placed, because apparently I guess she had popped her parents, and she had popped a couple of other people, and they were like, oh, we need to take charge of this child. And so she goes to this foster care system, and then I don't know if she's adopted or if she's just taken out, but guess who her surrogate daddy is? Stan Edgar.
Oh, that should blew my mind. I was like, that makes perfect sense though.
Before you get there, how funny is it that he was like, oh yeah, once he gets made, he's like, yeah, me and Starlight were looking to adopt a baby. Oh Lord.
This is why Starlight told you don't do anything without her.
Right. Exactly.
Dumbass Hughie. Dude, this is only going to lead to like all kinds of issues.
I'm just going to say this because we already know this. as a character flaw with Hughie. Hughie does not make the best decisions. And as these episodes go on, I think at this point, there are 5 episodes in the season out so far. Hughie's decision-making skills don't improve so far.
They get progressively worse.
Yeah.
They get progressively worse.
Yes.
And worse. And worse.
Like, this is why Starlight told you not to do anything without her, because you need a fucking chaperone.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you look at Edgar and her together, like when she sat on the couch next to him, it's like they actually looked like father and daughter. I was like, I buy it, like, for real.
And wasn't he reading a story to her daughter or something like that? I was like,
just a story.
I did not see that connection coming.
I was like, damn. But it makes perfect sense, though. It's like, when you think about it, it's like she's a high riser in one industry. He's at the top of his field in another industry. And it's like they basically are mirror images of each other.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be on opposite sides of, well,
in the comic book, the character she's based on was a Vought plant. Well, it was part of Vaught's move to take over the government.
Oh, okay. Well,
so she was a Vought plant, and that character, I don't think this is a spoiler because the show has done so many different things,
right?
But that because that person wasn't a Supe. His name was Vic. He wasn't a Supe.
Okay.
And he was vice president. Then they killed the president, and he became president. So I don't know if this is the direction they're going with this, but that would be very.
They better not kill Bobby. Damn it! They kill Bobby, we riot.
You know Bobby's days are numbered. Come on now. You know they are. The little conversation he had with Edgar, his days are numbered.
Can you let us enjoy this while we can? Like, give us this moment. Damn.
Because he hasn't picked a running mate yet. And who's the only other most popular politician? Victoria.
So. Leave Bobby Singer alone.
Thank you.
He's
that is not a theory.
Robert Singer in the show.
Leave Robert Singer alone.
It sure sounded like one.
That he's gonna pick her as his running mate.
That sounds like a theory to me. That sounds very theory-ish.
I mean, it would make sense, because then you have your, especially since we see what kind of relationship she has with Stan now, the whole Vought plant thing makes sense. She's in government,
and he would pick an anti-Supe person to be his VP because he doesn't like Stan. He doesn't like the Supes.
Right.
So she would be perfect.
Right. Even though she is a Supe. But and a dangerous one at that. So yeah, I have
the most dangerous Supe.
Mike, he's close to our hearts. Love Jim Beaver, but yeah, I have a feeling he's getting his head popped this season. Love you, Jim. But yeah.
Damn itches.
And here's the other thing too. While we're talking about Hughie not making smart decisions, I'm gonna need you to do a better job of trying to cover in front of your boss. Because if she finds out,
he is the absolute worst at this. He's really, really bad at it.
But we gotta remember, Hughie was not built for this kind of life. Hughie was minding his own business, walking down the sidewalk with his girlfriend, and the superhero life chose him.
Life chose me.
Like, he didn't choose this life. This life chose him. So we can't expect him to be right. So we can't expect him to be polished or, organized or knowledgeable about how to do all of this, like Marvin or like a Frenchie. He's still learning. And of course, the fact that Butcher treats him like shit on the bottom of his shoe half the time is not a very good learning environment.
I mean, it's not like Vought didn't cut him a check and gave him an apology. I mean, he could have just went back to his life the way it was.
Would you have taken that apology?
Or take my chances against Homelander?
Well,
I don't know. Knowing what he knows about Homelander now, I don't know.
Okay, I give you that. I give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Okay.
But Hughie's gonna have to. He's gonna have to up his alibi game, because him doing he's not a good liar. He's not a good liar. And Victoria, being in her position, can probably smell a liar from 5 miles away. I'm gonna need Hughie to do better.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry, this is a question I have about, I don't know if this is a question, more or less a confirmation. So if I'm understanding the way this is working, so he's working for her, and the boys are sort of like one of their law enforcement groups.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're contracted through them.
Okay, so it wouldn't be a surprise to her to find out that he's working closely with them, right? Because she gives them a lot of leeway. They kind of do. Butcher pretty much does, within parameters, like not killing termite.
Right. See, that's the thing. But anything outside of that, like if Butcher decides to go rogue, like, yeah, you can still fulfill your quote unquote job duties to this office, especially if they're the ones that are like paying your expenses and giving you the resources to do your job. But then what's to stop you from going and doing something over on the side, which we know is going to eventually come with Butcher anyway. You know that's going to come, because they're going after low-level Supes. They're not going after the Homelanders and the A-Trains, even though A-Train at this point, I mean, A-Train really can't do anything as a Supe because of his heart problem now. So he can't run, because if he does, his heart will give out. So, they're only looking at these little low-level Supes like the termites and whoever else, Gunpowder probably. Blue Hawk.
Yeah, because I want to talk about that bitch ass motherfucker. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later. Yeah. Let's see. What do we want to talk? Oh, okay. So we have to talk about Mother's Milk in this episode, because MM got a lot of stuff going on. We talked about last episode. He has the whole thing where him and Monique are no longer together. She's with Todd, and Janine is like a fan of all the Supes, which I don't know. I just, to think about the character of Mother's Milk or of Marvin and what he represents, and then to see his family that is like so opposite of him. It's one of those weird things. But we get to see him struggle through a lot in this episode, because one, it's obvious from the conversation he and Butcher have, he's been away from the team for a year. Like, after everything that went down last season, he took some time off to try to get himself together, to try to get his OCD under control. And we see him talking to Monique about that too, because she notices some of his tics that he does. And, he's telling her, look, I've been working on it. I've been taking, I've been trying to get it together. I even up my meds. I'm really trying to work and be better and do better, because he realizes that the life he was living, especially, working with Butcher, that cost him his family. So he's trying to fix things, but it's almost like, it seems like he's kind of sort of losing it a little. And it's because Butcher brings him this information about Soldier Boy. And like I said, there was something going on with Soldier Boy and his family, something having to do with Soldier Boy killing members of his family. And at this point yet, we don't really know what the story is. We only know the little bits and pieces that we saw from like the newspaper article that we talked about in the first episode. And then you just see him kind of going into this slow spiral as he's starting to get caught back up in, investigating these superheroes. And I'm just like, I don't know if this is going to be a good thing for MM, Because if the connection to Soldier Boy is as emotional as they are making it seem, he's going to be dangerous too. Do I think he's dangerous enough to take the temporary V? No. But Marvin is not a little dude. Marvin is not a weak dude. He got some strength to him. And one thing about his character, he stands up for what he believes in. So he's not going to back down. So once he decides to like dip his foot all the way into this Soldier Boy thing, whatever it is, you know, trying to find this, whether it's trying to find the weapon that kills Soldier Boy so that he can, you know, they can eliminate Homelander, and maybe he can kind of wean Janine off the superhero stuff. I don't know, but we got Butcher taking the temporary V. We got Marvin kind of dipping his toes back into the investigative waters. This is not about to be a good thing.
The one thing I want to see, I wonder if they're going to pull from the comics, is that his mother had been experimenting on with V, and that it might be, it may be that his size and strength are from V.
Oh,
but not to the level of like
necessarily
a suit.
Okay, but he is a little enhanced, probably
Right.
as a side effect.
Right.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I always thought that was something that at some point I think they're either they're going to use it or not, but I think that would be interesting. I don't think they're going to do it because of the way they have his character now, so anti-Supe.
Right.
But I think that would be an interesting twist to his character.
Billy Butcher is anti-Supe, and here he is taking temporary V and splitting Soldier Boy's old comrades in half with his Homelander powers.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's gotten huge since season 2.
Carl Urban?
Yeah, not Carl Urban.
Laz Alonso.
Yes, he's huge now.
But I mean, he's even in season 2, he was pretty solid.
Now he's hulked out.
I can attest to that. He was at DragonCon last year, and I got a picture with him. He is definitely he has a presence about him, you know. And it's like, even, you know, I did the photo ops with him and Tomer Capone and Karen Fukuhara, and even with the plexiglass in between us, you could feel his presence. You know, even just having a conversation with him behind plexiglass, he has a presence, and it's one of those where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna sit over here and shrink in the corner, and so
you felt Laz's presence through the plexiglass. Interesting.
You're so stupid.
not mess with you, Mike. We're not messing with you.
We're not.
I'm merely repeating what she said. But yeah, you're right. He does. He looks jacked. Especially standing next to Todd, his little scrawny ass. It's like he literally towers over his little bitch ass, and that's like.
I understand why they have Todd in the story, but I really need them to not have him in the story. Just take Todd out the equation. Mother's Milk has enough that he's dealing with on his own and with his ex-wife, and just trying to navigate that dynamic. Y'all don't need to add the token random white boy with the black woman trope into. Just leave that alone. Bye, Todd. Bye.
Yeah.
But you know what? I also feel like, I don't know, something about Todd's character does not sit well with me.
Is it because he's representative of alt-right indoctrination?
That could be part of it, but I also feel like
he has an unnatural attraction to superheroes, even though he's a grown-ass man.
Not that, and not in that sense, I will say, but the fact that you have this person who is now a part of the family of a person that is a known anti-Supe person, like anybody who's involved with Vought and knows about Billy Butcher and his boys, they know who Mother's Milk is. And I just feel like maybe he might be a plant to kind of see what's going on, or see if he can ascertain what's going on with Mother's Milk. And I don't know, something about.
But I blame her for that, because she went to start dating someone who was like, I guess, the polar opposite of Mother's Milk. Like, she went from someone who hates the Supes to someone who loves the Supes, like thinking that maybe that would be better.
I don't get the.
No, to me, when you look at the situation, that's what it looks like. Like,
but see, I don't know if someone,
because she's trying to get away from that.
But see, I don't know if I feel like that she would have done something that obvious, because of the fact that if you know that superheroes are a trigger for your ex-husband, for the father of your child, and you know it causes him to have this type of behavior, why would you purposefully bring that into his life? And
that's a good question. Why would you purposely? But she has to know about it. She
does. I mean, you get it from the conversations that they have, but the way
she chose to do this.
But no. What I'm saying is, I don't think it was a conscious. Oh, let me go find the first anti-Supe, completely opposite. I mean, not anti-Supe, but pro-Supe person to bring into my life to antagonize him. I don't think that was if you look at the way that they react to it, or not even react to each other, the way that Monique and Marvin talk to each other, and like when she sits down and she talks to him and she's trying to make sure he's taking his medicine and make sure that he's taking care of himself, are you not stressing, that sort of thing, they still, even though they're not together, there's still a very respectful relationship there, and she still cares about him as a person. It's evident in the way that she talks with him.
So why would she go to someone who would obviously trigger him?
I don't think that was a conscious decision. That she might have met.
It may have been subconscious then, but I
don't even think it was that.
Not even aware of.
I don't think it was that. I really don't think it was that. It seems to me
they're such polar opposites, though. Like they're way at different ends of the spectrum, color wise, ideal wise, and body wise. Like everything you could pick, you name it, they're way different than each other.
Right, so and I understand that. But what I'm saying is, I don't think she went out looking for that. If going by what I feel about his character, I feel like maybe that was somebody that said, oh, okay, you know what? We're going to plant you in this situation. We're going to put you in there and kind of push you into that situation and kind of manipulate how things work, and to kind of keep track of what Marvin may be doing, maybe see if Butcher and the boys are still doing stuff, trying to be against Vought, but trying to do it undercover. I don't know. I just feel like,
to me, it seems like all the things, it's like, let's imagine if she had a list of these are the things that I found about Marvin that I liked, and then she went like, okay, these are Marvin's personality traits. These are the things that he has, and this is how he is. So let me find someone who isn't like that.
I'm gonna tell you from a woman's perspective.
But we know
that's not how we look at potential mates. Like,
I'm saying, this is a TV show though, so it's not.
We're still talking about interpersonal relationships, and even though
then we're still talking about how she consciously or unconsciously chose the exact opposite of Mother's Milk. She chose to date someone who is so totally unlike him in every way imaginable. And she knows what Marvin's triggers are, and she's still being very careful and kind and sweet to him and making sure he's okay. But look who she's dating. Like, look who's living with her now, with his child.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think that was a on purpose thing.
I will more believe that she did that instead of Todd being a plant, because, Mother's Milk is trying not to do anything so he can see his daughter to try to be normal.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems as if, because if that were the case, then she should just go back to Marvin, because she seems to care for him in the same way, but she doesn't want to be a part of that life. So she chose someone who is never going to be a part of that life. Someone who's way more stable, someone who's way more with the mainstream. That's who she chose to be with, not someone who she actually might like. I'm just saying, that's what it looks like to me.
I don't know.
And I'm just going based on what I know about interpersonal relationships.
I don't know.
I've seen people do that before. Well, shit, dating this dude, this didn't work out for me. Maybe I should date someone different. And that's what she did. And I'm not gonna attest to it being conscious. I may have been wrong about her doing it consciously, but she either did it consciously or unconsciously. She may not have been aware that's what she did. She just chose someone who seemed to be more stable, someone who seemed to be more consistent, but yet it's the same person who is the exact opposite end of the spectrum of the man that you had a child with. And it wasn't like Marv was being abusive.
No.
He just had some problems. He was like, I was about to say he's like Kanye. This got issues.
We won't even go into that conversation because I got stuff to say about that. So let's not do this. Okay, let's see. Where do we want to go? Oh, we need to talk about this birthday celebration, like the actual birthday celebration. We talked about A-Train showing up in the Kunta Kinte of all costume. His
dashiki armor.
It's not, and the thing is, it's not even. It doesn't even look that good. It's just okay. I see he's got the little.
It wasn't apparent. It wasn't apparently obvious what he was trying to do. You kind of have to look at it real hard. You have to look at it real hard.
Yeah, but
it's ugly though.
It is ugly, and apparently Homelander can see his girdle. You fat fuck. I'm telling you, Homelander and the insults. Like even when he met Supersonic at the beginning during the rehearsal, he goes up to him and he introduces him and he's himself and he's like, yeah, so I hear you may be part of the 7. And he was like, oh gosh, sir, I really hope so. And what does he say? It doesn't help that your ex used to, what did he made a very derogatory reference about her being the judge. What was it? It doesn't, well, it can't hurt that your ex used to something come gargle on your queso something. He said something that basically was like, yeah, with the implication was, yeah, well, it doesn't hurt that your ex-girlfriend is one of the judges, or one of the judges is someone who used to suck your dick. That was basically what he was implying. And Supersonic is looking at him like,
he said it doesn't hurt that the judge used to get cum drunk on your chorizo picante.
There you go. And Supersonic is looking at him like, this just took a turn, because you're having a normal conversation and then all of a sudden you get that insult, and Starlight is just like, here we go with this bullshit. And it's just like, Homelander is walking around and he's got this fake smile and this fake look, like he looks like a Ken doll. Like his face is just that plastic, and he's got that weird little smile and the eyes plastered on his face, and he's being polite and then turning around and digging the knife in the same breath. And it's like, okay, that's the rehearsal. So then he does it with A-Train during the actual show. And I just, when they brought him out and Starlight out, and of course, he altered the lines that she was supposed to say. So she's, she's saying all this stuff that he wants her to say, but then she also announces, I guess, this project that she's supposed to be doing.
Starlight House.
Yeah, Starlight House. And while they're doing this, somebody in the audience says something out loud about Stormfront dying. Said something about, I'm sorry, your Nazi cunt died, or something like that. And of course, Starlight is trying to, smooth everything over while security takes him out. But you can see Homelander, he's just about to lose his shit. Like, he's sitting there, and you see the little jerk of his jaw. And he's just sitting there like, yeah, okay, no, I'm not doing this, because what was it that Starlight said? She said that he was going to donate to the Starlight House Foundation or whatever. He was like, no. She just lied to you. I don't make mistakes. I'm not like the rest of you. I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better. And he just starts going off in front of like they're on live TV. And everybody is in the audience. Stan Edgar's in the audience. And Ashley is trying to get it cut. And she's like, stop rolling. And Homelander says, don't you dare stop rolling. And he was like, yeah. So everybody's trying to control me all my life. So yeah, let me tell y'all what I'm not about to do. And he just starts going and going and going. And then here's the thing. Todd is sitting there watching, and he's just like, I was like, oh, here we go. And Monique is behind him, and she sees how he's reacted to it. And she just turns, and her whole face is stone. And I was like, yeah, you about to have some problems in your household, boo. But Homelander is like, look, I'm tired of pretending for y'all weak people. Y'all, I'm stronger than y'all. Y'all better be glad I'm stronger than y'all. He was like, I'm tired of everybody telling me what to do. Y'all better be glad I am who I am, because you need me. You need me to save you. And I mean, he just is going off, and everybody's just sitting there like, what the fuck? And Starlight is looking on that stage like, she looks scared. But he is just, like I said, that downward spiral, and now he's starting to run down the hill, because
it was like she realized he was descending into I don't really give a fuck. He just went off script and was like, no.
That was more than off script.
He's like, I'm the real hero. Fuck all y'all. He went
off planets.
Yeah, y'all should be grateful, and I want to save you.
He pulled a Nolan. That was a Nolan speech. And
everything would say, think, people, think.
I was thinking of A Few Good Men when he was like, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
In the sky.
Tell the truth. You can't.
Where are these heroes? Who's gonna do it? You.
Yeah.
Homelander is off the leash. So,
which is interesting, because this is like juxtaposed over Butcher going off the rails too, with what he did to with the guys.
Gunpowder.
Bulletproof? Gunpowder. I won't call it bulletproof. Gunpowder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, you just completely lost it,
dude. Yeah. And then hold on. Go ahead, Mike.
We talk about how, like, when Butcher first goes to see Gunpowder, like, it's just like at the gun show. I was like, they could have filmed that here. Like that shit looked. I mean, with like the little kids corner where they're like coloring, and they're like playing with the pink sniper rifle, and it's right. Like all the friggin' right wing rhetoric. I was like, oh god, that's Cobb County right there. Like I know that rhetoric anywhere.
Don't be calling out the counties, sir. Don't be calling.
Shit, they know who the fuck they are. I ain't calling out nobody that don't know who the fuck they talking about.
What is it? Mike likes to say, the opinions expressed by Mike are not necessarily.
That's right. EMC.
We will not be calling out Cobb County, Henry County, Forsyth County. We will not be calling out those counties.
I didn't call. I didn't call any of those out.
I'm saying. We're not gonna call it.
I have very extensive experience in Cobb County. I have years of experience living here, so I know exactly what they talk about.
Well, yeah, okay. You got a point. You got a point.
But yeah, it's like the whole thing where where Butcher approached him in the bathroom. I'm like, really? I mean, I understood why he did it, but then it's just like I think that's like most people who are like part of the public eye, like that's their worst nightmare. Is like, why are you coming at me when I'm holding my dick and I'm trying to pee? Like,
and didn't he show up like to the stall right next to him?
Yes, he violated protocol. Yes, he violated protocol by not leaving a buffer urinal. But I don't think. But of course, he didn't care. But then, I mean, props to Gunpowder. Like the first time, he actually showed off some decent like bullet ricocheting skills. I was actually kind of impressed, even though he was like toying with him.
I don't even know if Butcher was trying to kill him. I think he just got upset.
Yeah, even though we find out later that you shouldn't. We find out later why you shouldn't play with your food, because Butcher came back and like fucked his shit up.
Man, let me tell you, Butcher was a beast, and I was like, do we really need Butcher on V? Because if he's like that,
Is this the episode where he said whatever it takes? Like we have to do whatever it takes.
I think that was next episode, but okay. I mean, I think we can kind of see that he's kind of at that point. He's like, oh yeah, you know what? I think it shocked him though when the Homelander eyes came out. I think that he wasn't prepared for. But like they don't get to choose their powers on this temporary V. So if somebody else takes it, they may get maybe super speed like A-Train, or they may get Starlight's powers, which she also has the laser eyes, but it's just
talk to fish.
or they might get Liv Sauce's powers. I mean, you just won't be able to tell. Like it could be anything.
So, question: Did you recognize who was playing Gunpowder?
Yeah, my dude from Boondock Saints.
Yep, Sean Patrick
Flannery.
At the time, we had to look it up because we were like, "Is that such and such?" Yeah,
I kept looking at him like I know who that is. It's so funny because when you see, like, I'm used to seeing him kind of clean shaven, so seeing him with all the scruff and with the mask, I was like, I know that face. Who is that? I know this face.
His fake ass Magneto helmet threw me off a little bit. Once he took it off, I was like, okay, yeah.
That shit didn't help him at all.
Nope.
Can you imagine it? And this is just so I guess I think this kill kind of broke Butcher's supernatural killing fast, right? This is the first suit that he's killed in a year. Yeah,
that shit was brutal. I mean, he just like let all the Supes he didn't kill before, he just let all that shit out on him. And then next thing you know, he lasers his head in half.
Even after he gave him
and the back of that beautiful Challenger. I don't know what the Challenger did to him. I mean, damn, he could have saved the car. Like, why
the Challenger and everything behind it got wrecked.
And everything within the radius that he looked around got lasered in half.
And then he found out that Mallory has some information that might be pertinent to the situation.
Man, this just getting deeper and deeper, man. I see that now. I can't wait for the next one because he's going straight to the house and he's gonna be like, "All right, talk." And I was like, maybe this is the point where we actually get Soldier Boy like background. We'll finally get background on Soldier Boy. And
we need
what's
to.
Up with him.
Yeah. We need to figure out what's going on. Like, why is he? I mean, and I know that he's supposed to be like the Captain America figure of this company. Like, he was the first Supe for Vought, if I'm not mistaken. And we know what's been told of his history, as far as the good deeds he's done and all this other stuff. But we have to remember, this is Vought. Vought tends to lie about a lot of their superheroes. And if I'm not mistaken, Liberty was part of Payback, Soldier Boy's group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know all the stuff about her they swept under the rug. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, okay, Soldier Boy is not going to be the hero that they're telling us he is. I'm kind of wondering if he's worse than Homelander.
He's probably more, not necessarily worse, but just more untrained. It's not really what I was trying to, it's not the words I'm looking for, but less put together to be in front of people. Like, he was probably raised like in the, he came up in like the 40s and 50s, so he's probably going to be like if Don Draper from Mad Men had superpowers. Like, he's going to be like a womanizer who drinks scotch and wears dapper hats and like
not your ideal superhero,
right?
Yeah, no,
yeah, and like smokes Lucky Strikes and with no filters and shit. And it's like,
oh, but I like the little teases that we've been getting about Soldier Boy. I'm ready to see my guy. Y'all had 2 episodes to warm it up. I need to see my guy next episode. It's time. We need to be introduced to Soldier Boy in some way, which, I mean, I know from the promos and everything that they had coming into the season that Soldier Boy is alive, but at this point, everybody else still thinks he's dead. So I'm sure we're probably going to get some flashbacks before we actually see whenever it is that he shows up, especially if Mallory has information about him. Yeah, we're about to see some flashbacks. Because you got to tell the story, like how he got captured, how he got killed. Because if that's the case, if Mallory has some information, she probably knows who killed him and how. Yep. And if that's the case,
and that's why Butcher's going there to find out what the weapon was that killed him.
Right, because he's going to be like, you've known that I've been wanting to kill this motherfucker for years, and you've known about a weapon, and you ain't told me nothing. Butcher going to be a little pissed.
But then you can ask, why does the CIA not have this weapon? Like, why don't you have it?
But I asked this question last episode too. I was like, okay, so if they know that there's a potential weapon out there that can kill Supes, why have we not found that yet? Like, why has Vought not tracked that down and destroyed it?
Who's to say they haven't?
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay, look at
as of right now, we know from what everybody is saying, they're saying there is a weapon out there that killed Soldier Boy and that can possibly kill Homelander.
Okay, look at it like this. If there is such a weapon, say there's like a gun that can shoot through anything, like can kill a suit. If you develop that gun, you'd want to keep it out of the news because you don't want Supe finding out and be like, we have to destroy that gun. Or if Vought had it, they're like, okay, we know Homelander's going to go off reservation soon, so we need to keep this in a safe just in case that happens. So if he does go off the reservation, we can come out with this gun, kill Homelander, and be like, yep, this is our Supe Killer 2000. You can have yours for $1.5 million a piece. Act Now will take 20% off the case. You know how this is going to go because there are a whole lot more reasons to keep it secret than to advertise it. It makes
I understand that, but the thing is, the knowledge of it being out there is already out there because it's the thing that killed Soldier Boy. So the knowledge of it being out there is already out there.
Well, actually, no, because the story is he died in a nuclear reactor.
That's what the public story is. That's what the public story is.
People know the rumor was that it was a weapon.
Yeah. But my thing is, with Vought being in the business that they're in, the fact that superheroes are their business, even though, yes, Stan Edgar says they are a pharmaceutical company, superheroes are their business. That is the public face of the company. If there is even the slightest possibility of something being able to take your Supes out and it's not in your possession, I would think that Vought, with their resources, would be doing anything and everything to make sure that that weapon comes into their power so they control it.
Unless it's like Mike said, who said they don't? Maybe they do have it, and maybe it's their trump card. If maybe Soldier Boy went off the reservation and had to deal with it, and now maybe they're waiting to see how far Homelander will go.
Homelander let a plane full of 300 and something people crash.
That's negligible. How much time and effort they put into getting Homelander to where he is. You just don't ditch that commodity. You hold on to it for as long as you can until it becomes, what's the word? It's no longer feasible to keep it. You know, how long was Soldier Boy running around before they got rid of him?
Do we know when Soldier Boy disappeared?
It was the 80s. It was in the early 80s.
Okay. Because I remember we were saying something on the last episode we were talking, and I remember mentioning that he was a soldier from the World War II era. And I think the way that my comment came across, it was like that's when he disappeared. And I don't think that was the case, but I couldn't remember if they've actually said when he disappeared.
It was the early 80s, because if you remember during the video, there are pictures of him with like Princess Diana.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
So
you're right.
Yeah, it was early 80s.
You're right. Okay.
And again, why would
Princess Diana cheated on Charles with Soldier Boy?
Shoot.
And then wouldn't it also kind of track with, because I think Homelander might be not a clone, but I bet they probably use Soldier Boy DNA to create him.
That's what Lori said in the last episode. Yeah.
So.
That's what she was saying, because we know that he's a test tube baby. We don't know anything about his parents. We know Vought raised him like literally from birth. And for him to be as strong as he is, when Lori said it in the last episode, I was like, if that's what they did, that would make sense, because you would want DNA from like the strongest gene pool if what you're trying to do is make a weapon that will surpass all. And if
I don't remember if she said this, but they use Stormfront DNA to create Homelander in the comic book.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is his parents are, I believe, I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but I believe his parents are Stormfront and Soldier Boy. I mean, it would just make sense.
Well, but in the comic book, though,
it's Stormfront.
They use Stormfront DNA to sort of not really clone him, but to create him.
Right, because Stormfront is a man in the comics.
In the comic book.
Right.
Okay. That would be interesting and also gross if that's the case in this in this sense, because that means you are having sex with your mother, but then again, that wouldn't be like the most shocking thing I've heard.
That wouldn't be beyond Stormfront's capabilities, because this is how she thinks. That would have worked for her.
Yeah, that would have been that perfect race, kind of like the Targaryens, where they married brother to sister to make sure that purity stayed within the family. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that just gave me the heebie-jeebies to think about Homelander and Stormfront in that sense. Oh God. Oh.
Yeah, but I don't think it would be Soldier Boy and Stormfront or Liberty, because he was pretty much involved with Crimson. What's her name? Because in the video they were like that was the love of his life.
Yeah, but it wouldn't necessarily have to have been like a physical thing. They could have had.
That's true.
They could have taken, I mean, who knows what kind of testing they do with the Supes. They could have taken a sperm sample during testing. They could have taken eggs during testing. They could have done any of those without their consent. You know, this is a superhero company that does testing on their subjects and that sort of thing. We already see they do the testing on babies and they administer the V to the baby. So there's no telling what they could have done. They could have done that and said, oh, we found that there's something physically wrong with you. We need to correct it. So we need this kind of sample. We need that kind of sample to determine. They could have done a whole bunch of things and made that work. So that's an interesting theory, Anthony.
Nice theory. Nice theory.
Do you see this? No theory.
Whatever.
No theory.
Whatever. I like it though.
But it's like, but again, it's like there's no reason to show your hand if you have such a weapon until you really need it. There's absolutely no reason to show it because anything can go wrong. Anyone can try to steal it. Any Supe can come and try to destroy it before you get a chance to eliminate whichever Supe is the problem. So even if someone has it, there's no point in showing your hand.
It's a break glass in case of emergency situation.
Well, exactly. All that stuff they had last year with the super terrorists, you would have thought they would have brought something out like that then. Because they didn't know what they were doing.
But Homelander handled that though.
Homelander handled that. They didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Edgar probably feels as long as he's got Homelander under control, he's got everything under control.
I don't know if he got him under control now after the way he just went off in front of everybody.
As long as the strongest Supe is under control, then they're not going to bring it out. There's no point. Because if you have the strongest Supe under control and another Supe gets out of line, you send Homelander and be like, handle that. And Homelander handles that. That's what happens. Well, until Homelander gets out of pocket, then you're like, okay, bring it out.
A la the end of this episode.
It's just like in Invincible when they said bring the hammer down. It's like, that's basically their hammer, but they're hoping that it works better than the hammer actually did in Invincible. Because that just pissed him off. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, but now, I mean, we're at the point where Homelander's like, I don't give a fuck. Y'all are peons. Y'all are ants. And y'all should be thankful that I do what I do for y'all as far as saving you every day and all this other stuff. Yeah, Homelander's to that point. He's about to be out of control because he did this live on TV in front of a live audience, including Stan Edgar sitting in the front row. Homelander is off the reservation. He is like, fuck it, let's do this. So yeah, it's about to get real interesting.
We've got Homelander losing it or lost it. We've got Butcher lost it. They are on a collision course for something spectacular.
Yeah.
The two of them. Yeah.
Especially we've already seen in these first two episodes, kind of in the first episode, we saw where they actually did have a sit down discussion, trying to figure out, okay, you know what? Technically speaking, I know we don't like each other, but we also don't like Vought. So what was it? It's kind of like Homelander was suggesting, hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So let's be friends for now and try to eliminate this threat of Vought. And I was like, oh, that's definitely not a good idea. And then, of course, you see when Butcher is having his dream that morning, right before he goes to inject the V, he's actually projecting Homelander talking to him like, yo, Billy, are you really about to shoot that shit in your veins? Like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, yeah, you're a punk. And so there's some kind of connection between him and Homelander now, whether that's just the thing of, okay, yes, I'm going to use him to get what I want to go against Vought, and then I'm going to destroy him. Or if it's one of those things where I'm going to let this asshole be my motivation for why I'm doing this stupid thing that I'm now doing, putting this green shit in my veins that probably hasn't been tested. And you don't know what the side effects are. You don't even know if you're going to get powers. What if you inject this stuff and it doesn't work and ends up hurting you anyway? I mean, we see that it works, but it's just like,
What if you just turn into like organic blob on the floor?
Exactly.
Melt. Your superpowers slithering under doors.
What was it?
Yeah,
what was that? The senator in X-Men when he
Yeah. You just turn into water. That's
the blob first.
Yeah.
And then you kind of that I remember when that happened in that movie. That was so gross to me. Oh, so gross. But yeah, I mean, that could be what happens. Butcher doesn't know. Like, I'm just I don't know.
Yeah.
Butcher with powers is gonna be interesting.
It goes back to Wild Cards, which I talked about last season, the book by George R.R. Martin, where you've got aces and jokers. Aces are the suits, and jokers are the ones that get 3 arms instead of 2 when they take the superpower pill. I mean, it's the same concept, you know. So, again, every time I watch The Boys, I'm very, very reminded of George R.R. Martin's Wild Cards and how similar it was. I mean, they were going to develop a TV show, but I haven't heard about it in a while. But basically, it's The Boys is, I would say, a light take of Wild Cards to a certain extent, as far as storyline and with the powers of the soup. So yeah,
they're too busy working on Jon Snow's show.
Let's not go there.
I mean, I'm just saying it's been confirmed that is in the works. So
who wouldn't want more Tormund? Who wouldn't?
Okay, maybe for him.
I just want I want to see John living with the Wildlings. That's a whole other discussion. Let's not go there because we'll go off on a whole other tangent. Let's see. We got super powered babies in foster. So who do you have working in a foster home with superpowered babies? Are those other soups in there, or do y'all just leave humans in there and just kind of roll the dice with them? Because that's a lot of supernatural kids. Think about if one of the kids has a temper tantrum and doesn't know how to control their powers. That's like a disaster. Like you're getting a new nanny every day or something like that.
I think they're rolling the dice. Because wasn't the lady walking around with a cast on her leg or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yep, you're right.
I would think they would have someone there like the other place had lamplighter there to like kind of keep control of everything. Like,
but those were adults though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm saying, but still, I mean, you might have someone who can put them to sleep. Like, you know, like if they start acting up, just have someone who can just like, you know, put their head and like go to sleep.
My mind just went the wrong way. You said put them to sleep. I was like, you're talking about having people there to kill the kids if they miss you.
No.
Oh, this show like has warped my mind.
I didn't say make them sleep. I didn't say make them sleep with the fishes. I just said sleep. You ain't gotta sleep with the fishes.
Rockabye baby.
It's this show. It's warped my mind. It's done some things to it. But
yeah.
Yeah, she's walking around on those crutches. I'm like, yeah, she done been in a scrape or two with these kids.
And then they were superpower because they had the one kid climbing up the wall, and there the teacher was on the ground like, get down from there, like they were climbing after or levitating.
Right.
Like, it's different with kids. Yeah, it's different with kids. You know, I guess when they become like adolescents and teenagers, they send them to the other place.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess at this point, they put the humans with the little kids because they're like, the humans are indisposable at this point. Because I mean, think about it. What supernatural, superpowered being is going to want to be in there with superpowered kids who don't know how to control their powers? That's like a never no. Can you see the likes of Starlight or Homelander or one of them just going in there and taking care of these kids and that's their job? No.
That's why Lamplighter was at the one with the adults, and they had called it Stormfront when they needed, you know, bigger guns.
Yeah, that's true. I can't wait till we get to these other episodes.
And
because this season has been so fun so far. It's been so fun.
Yeah.
It's also been
like
there have been some things that I've looked at where I've been like, okay, that's not what I was expecting for the day. But right. I mean, it's keeping us on our toes and it's telling a decent story. So I don't know. I'm having fun with it, but where to go from here? Butcher has powers. How do you think the rest of the team is going to feel about the fact that Butcher has powers?
Oh, Mother's Milk is not going to be happy.
Not
we've already seen it in. Yeah, because this is going to snap. I mean, and there's no telling. Like Starlight's probably going to freak out, and be like, "Oh, hell no! This is the worst idea." And it's like, I think Frenchie will probably hate it, but he'll still be kind of indifferent about it. He's gonna be like, "Oh, this sucks, fucker."
Frenchie gonna be paying attention to Kimiko. You know what? I was gonna say this too. I don't know how I never paid attention. You know, it just hit me watching this episode why Frenchie calls Butcher Monsieur Charcuterie. I was like,
right.
Wait, he's literally calling him a butcher. I was like, how did I not catch that earlier? I just always wondered, like, why is he calling him that? And then I was watching this episode and I was just like, wait, duh, I was today years old when I realized Frenchie is literally calling him Mr. Butcher in French. I was like, you know what? I just those 2 years of high school French just Oh, we have anything else to say about this episode? Lori, you've been a little quiet.
Yeah, I'm just listening. Basically I agree with everything you guys are saying. I mean, this entire storyline is fascinating. The plot points, everything that they're doing is, like I said, last season I was in, but this season I'm really in. I mean, I'm to the point where I can't binge. I'm watching each episode because usually, I wait until everything's done. No, this has my interest.
Yep.
Also, real quick, shout out to Monique for being the voice for telling Mother's Milk what he wanted to hear, and telling him that he needed to go back to Butcher because of how he was reacting and everything. It's like, you need to go back to Butcher. Mm-hmm. It's like, you got to handle this. This isn't working, so just go ahead and go, because you need to.
Right.
Also, at the scene where Frenchie and Kimiko were talking when they were looking at TV, shout out to the producers for having protesters saying Stormfront was right and carrying tiki torches. Like, there was a nice little aside there. I was like, I see what you're doing there. I saw that. I got you. I was like, okay, that was pretty clever. Shout out to the little throwaway line at the end by Victoria, telling Starlight after you could tell, like, she knows, she knows there's some up with Hughie. She's like, tell him not to be afraid of strong women. And I was like,
oh yeah, you're shit. Right.
She knows.
Oh yeah.
She's hip.
Like I said, she can probably smell a liar from 5 miles away. I mean, she is in politics. And when he came into the office, she was like, "Hey, Hughie, where you been?" He was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, dude. Anytime you start out like that, you're lying. Doesn't matter what it's about. You're lying. Even if you're like, oh, I overslept, I missed my alarm, and you're lying."
Okay.
Have your life straight when you walk in the door. That's why I said, Hughie, I'm gonna need you to do better this season.
He ain't gonna do better. No. She actually said, "Oh, Hughie, cut her some slack. You shouldn't be afraid of a powerful woman." And then kind of and then walks into her office. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be on her bad side. Like, her bad side being her front, where she can see you and pop your head easily.
Yeah, Hughie has spent enough time with other people's blood on him. He does not need to get to the point where it's his own. Not like that. No. But that means Starlight needs to kind of be on the lookout too, because Victoria knows. If Hughie knows, then Starlight knows.
Right.
So,
and she knows that both of them are in on it together. Shout out to Starlight for having perfect timing for getting him out before he dug that hole even deeper, like coming in basically and saving him. Like Hughie.
I tell you,
man, I tell you what, this was a great episode. I can't wait for the next one because I'm almost sure we're gonna get more. We're finally gonna get our Soldier Boy backstory. Like I can't wait to see that shit.
I just want to see Soldier Boy. At this point, I don't even care about that. No, let me not lie. I do care about the backstory, but I am ready to see my Jensen on the screen as Soldier Boy. I'm ready to see what he's going to do with this role. So,
he's gonna kill this shit.
Of course, this is Jensen we're talking about. But yeah, I want to see how different he's going to be from Dean, because I've seen him as Dean for so long. Like even when I see him in stuff that I saw him in before he was Dean, like when I look at old Dark Angel episodes or something like that, I'm just like, it seems weird now. So it's going to be very weird having watched him for 15 years as this one character and see him take on a completely different character. And like I said, this character he ain't got all his marbles in the right place, because he's part of this super human contingent on this show, and everybody in this contingent on this show, they got some issues. So he's about to have some issues, and it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if what was I gonna say? Soldier Boy. It'll be interesting to see if Soldier Boy has an affinity for Pi, or if he tries to bring in any Deanisms to see how they do that. I'm actually looking forward to that.
I'm sure Dean is going to make his way into the character somehow, even if it's just a tone of voice or an inflection or how he says a certain thing. But yeah, I'm excited for this new character. I'm ready to find out about Soldier Boy and see what he's about. Oh, speaking of which, look what I got in the mail. You see my Den of Geek magazine with the boys.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm ready for it. Bring it on. And let's see how that's gonna go with Butcher having these powers now, even though they are temporary, but still he's got powers. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So
the worst idea ever.
Yeah, we'll see. It may turn out to be great, but
Only thing worse is if Hughie had powers. That's the only thing I can imagine that could be worse.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
No. On that note, we are going to close this show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel and listen to us on our major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.